At his grandfather's funeral, Daikichi Kawachi meets a little girl he has never seen before. She is standing quietly by herself, small and silent, almost like a shadow that nobody wants to look at. Daikichi soon learns the truth from his mother. This 6-year-old girl is not a distant relative. She is his grandfather's illegitimate daughter. Her name is Rin Kaga. In other words, this tiny child is technically Daikichi's aunt. Daikichi is stunned. He is 27 years old, single, and still struggling through adult life. Now he is supposed to call a 6-year-old girl his aunt? But the shock is only the beginning. With his grandfather suddenly gone, Rin becomes a problem no one in the family wants to face. During the final farewell, everyone steps forward to place white flowers beside the coffin. Rin stands behind them, not fully understanding what death means. Then she remembers that her father, the old man who raised her, loved blue flowers. So she runs into the garden, picks a few gentian flowers still carrying morning dew, and brings them back in her tiny hands. She wants to place them into her father's palm, but no matter how hard she tries, his hand no longer opens. The warm hand that once held hers is now stiff and cold. The relatives only watch from a distance. No one steps forward. Only Daikichi walks over quietly. He tells Rin she can place the flowers beside her father instead. Rin looks at him and asks in a small voice if her father will never wake up again. Daikichi nods gently. That one simple gesture breaks the last bit of strength Rin had been holding on to. Only now does she truly understand. The person who loved her most will never come back. After the funeral, the family sits together to discuss what should happen to Rin. Daikichi's grandfather never told anyone about her. No one knows who her mother is. To the relatives, Rin is not a child who has just lost her only guardian. She is an embarrassment, a family secret, a problem left behind by a dead old man. Because Rin is quiet and withdrawn, the adults dislike her even more. No one wants to take her in. Daikichi suggests that his mother could look after her temporarily. His mother refuses without hesitation. The reality of adulthood is cold and practical. Everyone has work. Everyone has a family. Everyone has an excuse. Eventually, the adults decide to send Rin to a distant orphanage. Their careless words echo through the room. Daikichi cannot listen anymore. He stands up without saying a word and walks outside. In the yard, Rin is standing alone. Daikichi looks at that lonely little figure and feels something between anger, pity, and impulse rise in his chest. He lowers his head and asks her if she wants to come home with him. Rin says nothing for a long time, but she understands one thing: she is about to be abandoned, and the man in front of her may be the only person willing to reach out. So she slowly lifts her small hand and gently grabs the edge of Daikichi's clothes. That tiny movement carries all her dependence, fear, and hope. And just like that, while the family shouts and criticizes him, Daikichi takes his young aunt home. But Daikichi has lived alone for years. He has no experience raising a child. The next morning, when Rin calmly waits for breakfast, Daikichi hides in the bathroom and regrets his decision with his whole soul. Rin seems to sense that she is a burden, so she becomes painfully well-behaved. She never complains about food. She even shares the rice balls she makes with Daikichi. She tries to lower her presence with quiet obedience. When they take walks together, she always holds Daikichi's hand and follows him silently. When they go shopping for clothes, every item she chooses is a pair of pants. Daikichi is confused. Rin calmly explains that she cannot wear skirts at daycare. That one sentence wakes him up. Rin is already old enough to attend daycare, and he knows absolutely nothing about enrollment. Just as he is panicking, his younger sister calls. Knowing Daikichi always works overtime, she has found a daycare center that stays open 24 hours. The only problem is that it is far from both his office and his home. From Rin's first school day onward, running becomes the main theme of Daikichi's life. During morning rush hour, the subway is packed. Tiny Rin holds tightly onto his leg. Daikichi carefully shields her in the crowd. After getting off the train, he picks her up and runs all the way to daycare. He tells the staff he may have to pick her up late, then turns around to rush to work. But when he looks back, he sees Rin's disappointed face. It is the same expression she had after her father's death. Daikichi understands instantly. Rin is still trapped in the fear of being abandoned, so he turns back and seriously promises her he will come pick her up tonight. Only after calming her down does he rush to the office. No matter how fast he runs, the normally punctual Daikichi is late that day. He does not even have time to wipe the sweat from his forehead before diving into piles of work. Meanwhile, in that small daycare room, Rin stays heartbreakingly quiet. Maybe she is still wondering if Daikichi will really come back. But Daikichi has not forgotten his promise. The moment work ends, he runs out of the office like an arrow leaving the string. On the way, he keeps thinking about her. Did she eat properly? Did other kids bully her? When he finally reaches the daycare, out of breath, the noisy children are already gone. Only Rin remains, sitting quietly on a bench, waiting. When she sees Daikichi, a small light appears in her eyes. At that moment, she finally has someone she can trust. From then on, Daikichi's world is broken into countless small, hurried pieces. He carries Rin through crowded trains. He runs on the road to daycare. To save time, he changes into lightweight running shoes. After dropping Rin off, he rushes to work again. The daily routine is exhausting. But every time he sees Rin's bright, innocent smile, the fatigue seems to disappear. For Rin, the thing she looks forward to most every day is waiting for Daikichi to come home and pick her up. But when the company enters its busy season, overtime becomes impossible to avoid. Daikichi begins arriving later and later. Every time he sees Rin asleep on the train, worn out from waiting, guilt pulls at him silently. After a long period of thinking, he makes a major decision. The next day, Daikichi submits a request to transfer from his management track position to a labor position with no overtime. In Japan's strict workplace culture, a man in his prime voluntarily giving up career advancement looks irrational to others. But on the way to his new department, Daikichi meets a coworker named Goto. Goto used to be a strong performer in the sales department, but after his child was born, he also moved away from the front line. Daikichi cannot help asking if Goto feels he sacrificed too much for his child. Goto's answer clears the fog in Daikichi's heart. He says his child is someone he willingly brought into the world. The child is now an inseparable part of his life, so everything he does for that child is also part of his own time. How can that be called sacrifice? Those words change Daikichi's understanding. His life with Rin is not one-sided loss. It is not only him giving and Rin receiving. It is a mutual rescue. Daikichi gives Rin a home and companionship, healing the lonely gray world she fell into after her father's death. Rin gives Daikichi pure trust and warmth, saving him from his numb, exhausted adult life. After transferring to the logistics department, Daikichi's days become calmer. His new coworkers are mostly gentle older employees and parents who understand his situation. The atmosphere is relaxed. He quickly fits in. Without endless overtime, he finally has more time to spend with Rin. They shop together. They play games together. They eat at family restaurants. That sense of safety and happiness becomes the permanent light on Rin's face. Every night, she quietly slips into Daikichi's bed and falls asleep beside him. But one small secret reveals how sensitive and insecure Rin still is deep down. One morning, Daikichi finds a large wet patch on the bed. Before he can say anything, Rin pretends to be calm and claims she only sweated during the night. Daikichi understands what happened, but he does not expose her. He simply takes the mattress outside to dry. Late that night, a faint sound wakes him. He quietly looks over and sees Rin secretly changing the wet bedding by herself. She would rather handle the shame alone than ask for help. Daikichi's heart aches. To help her release the burden, he asks his coworkers for parenting advice. One tells him that children have delicate pride. The best way to reach them is not to scold them, but to become their friend. That night, Daikichi tells Rin embarrassing stories from his own childhood. He says little accidents during growing up are normal. There is no need to feel ashamed or hide. If she has any worries, she can tell him. His light-hearted words finally let Rin relax. After that, she asks a serious question. Will you die too? That simple sentence hides her deepest fear. She watched the person she loved most leave forever. She has lived under the shadow of abandonment ever since. Daikichi's heart tightens. He gently pulls her into his arms. He cannot promise that nothing bad will ever happen, but his embrace gives her the quiet answer she needs. Under the night sky, the two sit in the yard and talk about her father. Rin softly recalls the little details of her life with him. Morning walks, homemade rice balls, small boats folded from colorful candy wrappers. Simple, warm things that made up the happiest part of her childhood. Daikichi tells her that real goodbye does not mean forgetting. As long as she keeps someone in her heart, the love they gave her will remain in her memories and continue to protect her. Rin seems to understand a little, but not completely. She only waters the gentian flowers she planted in the yard. Those flowers powers are her way of missing her father. When Daikichi learns that Rin is deeply afraid of the dark, he quietly installs a starry night lamp on the ceiling of the bedroom. When night falls, soft lights fill the room like a small sky of stars. They gently push away Rin's fear. These tiny details, these silent acts of love, slowly fill the empty spaces inside her. After that, the bedwetting problem disappears. With Daikichi beside her, Rin becomes like a branch touched by spring wind. Little by little, she opens up. She begins reaching toward the outside world. She even becomes good friends with a boy named Koki Nitani. No one knows that this innocent friendship is about to plant another small seed of fate. One day, when Daikichi picks Rin up from school, he unexpectedly meets the woman of his dreams. The moment he sees her, his eyes widen in disbelief. The woman in front of him is Yukari Nitani, a model from a magazine he often reads. She is also the ideal woman Daikichi has secretly admired for a long time. In his head, he has imagined romantic dates with her countless times, but when she suddenly appears in real life, he freezes. Before he can collect himself, Yukari greets Rin first. It turns out she is Koki's mother. Just as Daikichi is about to speak, Yukari notices that Rin's forehead is burning. Rin has a fever. Daikichi immediately forgets his crush, picks Rin up, and rushes to the hospital. Yukari is worried and goes with them. Luckily, the doctor says Rin only has an ordinary cold and fever. Only then does Daikichi finally calm down. On the way home, guilt fills him. As Rin's guardian, he should have noticed her illness first. Instead, a stranger caught it before he did. Back home, Daikichi stays by Rin's side all night. The next day, thoughtful Yukari comes over to check on her. With one glance, she can tell Daikichi has no experience caring for a sick child. She walks in and gently removes the heavy blankets from Rin. Then she reminds Daikichi that covering a feverish child too heavily is not always helpful. During their conversation, Daikichi admits that he is not Rin's biological father. He also admits he does not know how to handle many sudden situations. Yukari comforts him. She tells him that his official identity no longer matters. She can understand a child's heart. In Rin's world, Daikichi is already her only support. Those few words break through the tension Daikichi has been holding inside. He turns away and quietly cries against the wall. His tears carry relief, emotion, and fear of the road ahead. Looking at the small life who trusts him completely, Daikichi feels powerless for the first time, but clouds always pass. The next morning, when Rin regains her energy, Daikichi finally lets out a long breath. During this time of helping each other, his relationship with Yukari also becomes warmer. Under the sunlight, they play with the two children. For a brief moment, the laughter around them looks almost like the happiness of a complete family. The peaceful days do not last long. One phone call from Daikichi's uncle breaks the rare calm. His uncle asks Daikichi to come home that weekend because there is something important to discuss. Daikichi does not think too much about it and goes as promised. But the moment he walks through the door, his uncle brings out the director of an orphanage. Daikichi understands the situation immediately. After living with Rin day and night, she has already become family to him. He politely refuses the director again and again, but the director does not stop there. On the way back, the questions keep coming. The difficulty of raising a child alone, the pressure of being unmarried, the way childcare may affect future relationships, the uncertainty of enduring this for years. Every question is realistic. Every sentence hits a painful place. Daikichi cannot refute them perfectly, and for the first time, the thought of sending Rin away appears clearly in his mind. But the moment he imagines Rin alone again, with no one to rely on, his heart fills with pain. Just when he is lost in conflict, Rin accidentally mentions a housekeeper from her father's home. The woman's name is Masako. She was cold and often got angry at Rin, but this woman becomes an important clue to Rin's birth mother. Daikichi checks Rin's maternity handbook and discovers that the registered mother is Masako Yoshi. In the corner of the page, he also finds a handwritten website address. He follows the link and finds a private manga website. Maybe Masako is a manga artist. Maybe she is Rin's mother. Daikichi begins to think that if he cannot care for Rin properly, perhaps returning her to her biological mother would be best. So he leaves a message on the website. Masako replies quickly. They arrange a time and place to meet. To hide the meeting from Rin, Daikichi leaves her with his parents and goes alone. But the meeting destroys his last hope. Masako had decided from the moment she became pregnant that she would never acknowledge Rin as her daughter. She did not want to give up her dream of becoming a manga artist. She did not want to be tied down by motherhood. Daikichi is furious. he asks her one final question. In your heart, is Rin important, or is she nothing to you? Masako hesitates for a long time. Then she quietly says she does not know. At that moment, Daikichi sees the truth clearly. This woman does not have the responsibility or love needed to be Rin's mother. Returning Rin to her might seem logical by blood, but in reality, it would only send Rin into another abyss. Compared with cold blood ties, long-term devotion and care are Rin's real home. Just as Daikichi is about to leave, Masako stops him with one request. She asks him to let Rin take Daikichi's last name. If a child has a different family name from her guardian, it may leave painful memories later. Those words touch Daikichi. This mother abandoned her own child, but perhaps she is not completely heartless. After saying goodbye to Masako, Daikichi rushes back to his parents' home. He expected shy, withdrawn Rin to struggle with this unfamiliar family, but when he opens the door, he sees Rin getting along warmly with everyone. The scene fills him with quiet happiness. Later, Daikichi sits beside his father. His father talks about the compromises Daikichi made at work for Rin and sincerely praises his responsibility. Then, he brings up Daikichi's mother. Daikichi's mother was a strong woman. After giving birth, she still tried to balance work and family. To care for Daikichi, she often took leave and left work early. Over time, exhaustion wore her down, and she even ended up in the hospital. Hearing this, Daikichi finally understands. His mother's early opposition was not coldness. It was because she personally knew how difficult parenting could be. She did not want her own child to walk an exhausting road. At that moment, Daikichi understands the weight of parenthood more deeply. He understands that raising a child carries countless responsibilities, worries, and hidden sacrifices. But this does not make him retreat. Thinking of Masako's request, he asks his father carefully what he would think if Daikichi adopted Rin. If she has the same family name, maybe her life at school will be a little easier. His father does not object. His silence becomes a quiet form of respect and understanding. But in Daikichi's heart, Rin's feelings matter more than any formal arrangement. He looks at Rin, smiling brightly not far away, and decides to give the choice to her. The next morning, on the way to school, he carefully asks Rin if she would like to take his family name and let him become her father. Rin refuses immediately. She says Daikichi should just be Daikichi. A shadow of disappointment crosses his face, but Daikichi does not yet understand. In Rin's heart, there is one place that still belongs to someone else. Not long after, while Daikichi is working, an emergency call from daycare breaks the peace. Rin and Koki have disappeared together. Daikichi panics. He drops everything and rushes out to search. His co-workers and family join him. They call the children's names again and again, but there is no response. They search through the city, checking every place the children might go. Still, there is no trace of them. Just when Daikichi is exhausted and close to despair, he runs into Yukari, who is equally terrified. What they do not know is that the two children are standing in a quiet cemetery. A few hours earlier, the teacher had asked everyone to draw a family portrait. Both Rin and Koki fell silent. Because of their incomplete families, the figure of a father is painful and unclear. When the teacher turns away, Koki takes Rin and quietly leaves. With help from people on the way, they find the cemetery where their fathers are buried. In front of the cold stone markers, the two children share the loneliness they cannot say anywhere else. Meanwhile, Daikichi and Yukari return home after searching without success. Just when they are almost breaking down, two small figures appear at the door. Yukari says nothing at first. She only holds Koki tightly, full of relief. Rin timidly looks up at Daikichi, searching for comfort and afraid of his reaction. Daikichi's fists are clenched. His voice shakes as he shouts, asking if she knows how worried he was. But in the next second, all his restraint collapses. He pulls Rin into his arms and cries. He was terrified of losing her, and now he finally understands her heart. Rin refused to take Daikichi's name or call him father, not because she does not love him. It is because, deep inside, she is still protecting her loyalty to the father she lost. After the exhausted children fall asleep, Yukari apologizes to Daikichi for Koki's impulsive behavior. She also blames herself for the anxious days after losing her husband, when she could not always give Koki the attention he needed. Daikichi gently comforts her. He says he once thought parents became invincible responsible. Only later did he understand that adults become cowards. When the daycare called to say Rin was missing, his legs were shaking. He could only panic and ask coworkers and family for help. That was when he realized that no one becomes strong by fighting alone. Once there is a child you want to protect, worry becomes part of every day. So fear, anxiety, and frustration are all normal. Daikichi has changed. The immature young man from the beginning has become softer, steadier, and more responsible. Yukari looks at him with sincere admiration. For one moment, Daikichi cannot control the emotion in his heart. He leans closer, almost kissing her. A small interruption stops the moment, but the distance between them has clearly changed. On the day of the daycare performance, the children smile brightly on stage. Below the stage, the adults watch with tears in their eyes. Daikichi's parents and sister are also in the audience. Rin, who was once treated as a burden and an embarrassment, has quietly become the softest place in the whole family's heart. Life seems newly washed by sunlight after rain. Every morning after that, Rin wakes Daikichi in her own unique way. Looking at her healthy, lively figure, Daikichi silently prays that today will be another peaceful day. And every night, as he watches Rin fall asleep, he feels grateful from the bottom of his heart. These ordinary days are plain, but they are precious. Bunny Drop is a 2011 Japanese drama film directed by Sabu, starring Kenichi Matsuyama as Daikichi Kawachi and Mana Ashida as Rin Kaga. It does not rely on intense conflict or dramatic twists. It feels more like a soft piece of milk candy, simple at first taste, but leaving a long, gentle sweetness behind. The healing in this story is never one-sided. It is a two-way rescue. 27-year-old Daikichi begins as a tired, numb office worker living alone. Work pressure and emotional distance have slowly worn away his expectation for life. 6-year-old Rin is quiet, abandoned, and painfully sensitive. After losing the only person she depended on, she lives with the constant fear of being left behind again. These two people should have had nothing to do with each other, but a funeral brings them together. Daikichi's impulsive kindness becomes the warmest light in both of their lives. Through clumsily caring for Rin, Daikichi gradually swallows his own impatience and indifference. He learns responsibility. He learns worry. He learns what it means to truly care about another person. And through Daikichi's daily protection, Rin slowly lowers her guard. She changes from lonely and timid to bright and open. She learns what home feels like. She learns what it means to be treasured. The heart of this film goes deeper than the idea of a single man raising a child. It moves beyond blood ties and shows what love and responsibility really mean. Daikichi and Rin are not connected by ordinary family structure, but through everyday companionship, they create a form of family that feels more real than blood. Family is not only inheritance, it is choosing to stay. It is protecting someone without counting the cost. It is morning runs, late night talks, quiet comfort, shared meals, small hands held in crowded trains, and the promise that someone will come back for you. Real love does not care about bloodline, age, or title. As long as there is kindness and tenderness, people can cross every distance and become each other's safest place. We often chase career success and complain about the boring weight of daily life, but this film reminds us that the truest happiness may be hidden in ordinary companionship. Life is not meant to be a lonely battle. The people we choose to protect and the warmth we receive in return may be the very things that give life its deepest meaning. That's all for today's movie recap.